Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
Without saying that what Hollywood construes as an action film in 2014 could easily be mistaken for a frickin' wedding video in 1987. Action films, along with much of the rest of contemporary American society, have gone full-on castrati. Oh sure, they can hit the high notes, but at what cost? Between opulent CGI, sappy storylines, wallpapered with self-effacing socio-political pretense, and everyone's favorite party crasher, their unwelcome capacity to be self-aware, modern action films have somehow managed to perform a funectomy on what was once ostensibly the single most fun film genre to ever blast its way through the wall of your living room with a sofa-sized rocket launcher. And before you pipe up, Chuckles, yes, I am well aware that the 90s has its fair share of testosterone-kinetic action mavens. But we all know for damn certain they never built them quite as savage, strapping, or sociopathic, for that matter, as they did in the roaring 80s. Before we start, need to lay down a couple ground rules. One, everyone on this list had to have something that could be vaguely described as a career in the 1980s. Not the 90s, not the aughts, not the ifs, ands, or buts. That means so long Statham and au revoir Vin Diesel. Two, they don't have to be primarily an action star, just enough of one to be identified with the genre on a common basis. And before you ask, yes, Pierce Brosnan was James Bond. No, that does not mean Remington Steele is an action star. And three, and this is the big one, the great big flaming orb around which our solar system of all actiondom revolves. This action star must not be 1/5 of 1,000th of 1/quintillionth self-aware. No proper action movie is self-aware. Shoot 'em Up ain't an action film. It's a parody / satire / cinematic circle jerk where every hapless hipster in Hollywood pat themselves on the back for having watched movies that don't suck, while they're, of course, making one that most decidedly does. If they're self-aware, they are officially excommunicated from the kingdom of kick-ass. Without further delay, RazörFist, top 5 action badasses in cinematic history.
What's the problem?
Van Damme. He loves a good fight.
They don't build him any more badass or Belgian than Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is indescribably odd because usually when those two descriptors find themselves in the same sentence, I'm discussing a waffle. Which tells you a little something about Jean-Claude, rocking an accent thicker than Street Fighter's script and 5 times as incoherent. After playing villainous, ambiguously European dudes in his early 80s output, the muscles from Brussels carved a niche the size of that extra skull he's growing on the side of his forehead. And here's the thing with Jean-Claude. He is a legit badass, a martial arts powerhouse who dominated the competitive scene in the late 70s and early 80s in innumerable bouts, both sanctioned and otherwise, meaning he has in all likelihood murdered someone you know, taking a page out of the modeled tome of Chuck frickin' Norris, dovetailing his karate credentials into a ticket to Tinseltown. And the cat has diversity, you have to give him that, whether it's the stone-faced KGB agent in Black Eagle, the stone-faced Gibson in Cyborg, or the granite-faced pseudo-cyborg in Universal Soldier. Van Damme is the Tom Hanks of 80s action cinema, except, you know, he wears a mullet better. Just keep his hands away from his belt buckle, because given time, opportunity, and a hand within the immediate proximity of his button fly, this man will be fully nude in a hummingbird heartbeat. Over the course of this man's 30-year career, that conspicuously well-shaven Franco-Belgian ass crack has steadily replaced the chainsaw-wielding rabbi in my nightmares. But I won't hold that against the man. Viva Van Damme!
Let's party.
How about the light?
You don't describe Arnold Schwarzenegger, you carve inscriptions in testament to the man and his deeds in solid granite, which remains the longest abiding scientific hypothesis for the existence of Easter Island. You see, Arnold Schwarzenegger is not mortal. He's a mobile, muscular monolith that occasionally says words, and that isn't an Austrian accent, it's an elaborate code system for befuddling America's enemies. The wind talkers can blow me. After, let's say, questionable fare in the 70s,
You know, I'm not really sleepy, are you?
Oh, no, I'm right awake.
Oh, good. good. What do you got in mind?
I know what.
What?
Do you want to hear some knock-knock jokes?
I think I'll get some wood for the fire.
Arnold tore the door to the 80s off Kane style with a little ditty called Conan the Barbarian, a movie so manly you'll need a double shot of progesterone just to keep your Adam's apple from swelling to the size of a depth charge in the first 15 minutes. And we all know what happened then. Red Sonja, Commando, Predator, Running Man. Sure, the Terminator's overrated, and James Cameron's opening sequence is so unrepentantly plagiarized, I'm pretty sure Carlos Mencia is the second AD, but Arnold was a frickin' cyborg! Labor is the medium might. For going on 3 decades, we have yet to locate a more picturesque pairing than Arnold and Cyborg. I'm reasonably certain Schwarzenegger was born with a glowing red robot eye, and the human face is just employed so as not to startle the ladies as he plows their nether parts. And who perfected the 80s action one-liner, if not Schwarzenegger? Think about it. Without this one man, we would live in a world deprived of heady, philosophical snippets like, "Let off some steam, Bennett," and "What killed the dinosaurs?" Ice Age! Just think about that for a moment. Chat rooms devoid of meaningless conversation, entire frat house keggers fallen utterly mute. It's bedlam! Bedlam, I say! Schwarzenegger is a demigod, but the reason he isn't higher on the list is because this man couldn't find his ass with a GPS and written instructions in the 90s. But then again, neither could music. Or fashion. Or society. The fact that our greatest action star could not locate his ass in the 1990s goes a long way to explaining why we needed a president who was such an expert at locating them. And hey, at least Arnold gave us Total Recall and Last Action Hero before he took the red eye out of relevance. Schwarzenegger, the action star embodied.
Norris.
Yeah, Chuck Norris facts. The Walker Texas Ranger lever. Aren't we all droll, marijuana-addled 20-somethings with pastel-colored ironic t-shirts? Setting aside the mid-2000s self-aware snarkathon, Chuck Norris is a living legend. A man who funded his first film, Good Guys Wear Black, all by his lonesome, which only bolsters my long-standing contention that a film can in fact be funded entirely by roundhouse kicks. Early in his career, dueling the likes of the great Bruce Lee, who helped break him into the movie business to begin with, sporting a mop of lame 70s hair, bell-bottoms, and an admittedly fierce mustache. But he wasn't the Chuck Norris we know and fear until the dawn of the Reagan administration, when in 1983 he starred in a brilliant byplay of 80s action and Western, Lone Wolf McQuade, the birth of the beard, a tuft of facial hair that imbues Chuck Norris with his preternatural abilities. With Cannon Films at the helm, Norris went from strength to planet-throwing strength, missing in action, the Delta Force, Hero and the Terror, Code of Silence. We all know about his Saturday afternoon exploits in the 90s, but the 80s belonged to Chuck Norris.
One man who won't be pushed. Charles Bronson.
I heavily documented the unbridled boss that is Bronson this past May with the dawn of Death Wish month, but for decades prior to the 30-year lifespan of the Death Wish franchise, Charles Bronson was already in a league all his own, vying with Clint Eastwood for steely scowled supremacy in the realm of the spaghetti western.
Did you bring a horse for me?
Well, looks like we're shy of one horse.
You brought two too many.
What's more, early 70s Bronson films like The Mechanic helped establish the iconography of what would become the action genre in the 80s. Taking a cue from Norris, Bronson hooked up with the Cannon Group to generate more testosterone than a powerlifter with 5 dicks, crafting wholesome family fare like Messenger of Death, Assassination, The Evil That Men Do, and Conjite, Forbidden Subjects. Bronson's career was every bit as active outside of the seminal Death Wish franchise as within, and if you need a happy thought to keep you nice and wide awake from now until the rapture, consider the fact that the portable howitzer, that 475 wielding magnum Charles Bronson carried around in Death Wish 3, was Charles Bronson's actual personal defense weapon. As in real life. as in the same real life that you and I presently inhabit. Meaning if you were born before Bronson passed from this world and into the annals of cinematic badasses in 2003, you somehow managed to survive in the same world where Charles Bronson had a naval cannon slung from his artificial hip. Yeah, sweet frickin' dreams. Charles Bronson. Action stars come and go. The mustache is forever.
The disease, and I'm the cure.
Stallone.
Whether he was blithely monging on a virgin matchstick behind the highly fetching force field of aviator sunglasses in the 86 Uber classic Cobra, or making us all forget that he was way too frickin' young to have fought in Vietnam a la Rambo, Sylvester Stallone is the slack-jawed centerpiece of 1980s action. What places Stallone atop the leaning tower of beefcake that is the 80s action movie? Very simple. From boxing, to vigilante justice, to one-man kill squad, to vaguely homoerotic buddy cops, Sylvester Stallone did it all, and he did it convincingly. Granted, Rocky is a product of the 1970s, but the Rocky franchise is very much a product of the 80s. The official playbook for the boxing and/or martial arts and/or shuffleboard formula, executed with pitch-perfect precision and played with borderline unintelligible panache by Sylvester frickin' Stallone. While Cobra isn't a boxing movie, unless you're referring to the box he was standing on whenever Brigitte Nielsen was in frame, both films fine-tuned the 80s action hybrid in their own inimicable way. Cobra, with its unrelenting onslaught of peerless one-liners, brooding 80s synthesizer, and Stallone's Mondo skinny jeans crotch bulge, and Rocky, with its tried-and-true underdog who beats absolutely everyone but somehow gets to remain the underdog formula. And if that isn't enough, he put a laser sight on an ever-loving machine gun! I can only assume so the errant hail of bullets will be marginally more accurate. And best of all, Stallone only got better in the 90s. Demolition Man, Cliffhanger, and yeah, I'll say it, the good, non-pretentious Judge Dredd movie. Jam your flame shields up your ass, fanboys. I'm RazörFist. Go ahead. I don't shop here.